Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Keyword Podcast. My name is Juan Jose, and today we are going to talk about the life of the genius Nicaraguan poet and writer Rubén Darío. So, I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone. So, today I'm pleased to be talking with Casey Caballero. Right?
Yes.
So, how are you, Casey? How's
I'm
it
good,
going?
and you?
I'm fine, man. Glad to be speaking with you.
Yes.
Today we
me
have a
too.
very interesting topic. We're going to talk about Rubén Darío. What have you heard about Rubén Darío?
I heard, I heard he was a good poem. He was a good poet in Nicaragua. He was in Europe, Chile, Argentina, in every country I imagine.
Yeah,
He
right.
was there.
Yeah, he's very famous internationally and obviously nationally because he's from here. And consider that he is a genius. Maybe I don't know if he's our only genius of Nicaragua, but I do think that he was very, very important for us and still is. So, without further delay, should we start reading the article? Yeah. All right. So, Rubén Darío. Rubén Darío was born Felix Rubén García Sarmiento on January 18 of 1867 in Metapa, Nicaragua. He began publishing poems under the name Rubén Darío at an early age. He left Nicaragua in his late teens and moved to El Salvador and later Chile, where he published Azul, a collection of poems and short stories in 1888. This book is often considered to mark the beginning of the Spanish American modernist movement. So, do you know what the modernist movement is?
Yes, I think it because I only remember a bit because yes, I think the movement. The modernist movement. It's a renovation of the poems, stories, legends, and more of Nicaragua and all Central America, of all America. I think it's a good movement in that years because if he was here in this year, I think the poems and stories and there were more thoughtful for us.
Right, interesting. So, to some information about what you're saying, this movement was like rejecting all sort of vulgarity. It was very elegant. It was really seeking for perfection in art. And the topics that were talked about in the movement were getting distanced from social issues, and they were more interested in adventures, the ancient Greek society, the Middle Age, and the mythology, for example, right? So another thing that I wanted to ask you is, what do you think about Rubén Darío being a genius? Because he started to read at the age of 3, which is, well, amazing.
Yes, and the year and the standard year of start to read it's 4, right?
No, I think it's between 6 and 7. I believe we have to check that out. But do you think that we are born geniuses, or that, or in the case specifically of Rubén Darío, do you think that he was born a genius, or that maybe some environmental or the way his parents were raising him had an influence on him becoming what he became?
Oh well, I think we are genius. All we are genius. We only train the brain, and remember you was know how to do it. We are genius. We can be, if like Rubén Darío, if we train our brain, if we had that thing that mentally we can go for us. We can go for that. I think we are genius. I repeat and repeat, and I think it.
All right, nice man. So, do you want to help me reading the next paragraph where it says Darío left Chile? All right.
Darío left Chile the following year and returned to Central America, where he married his first wife in 1819. After her death in 1893, he married again, but divorced soon after. Later, in 1893, he was appointed Colombian consul to Buenos Aires, where he became increasingly active in the literary community and the Marist movement. He published his second poetry collection, Prosas Profanas y Otros Poemas. In 1898, Darío left Buenos Aires for Europe, where he served as a correspondent for the Argentina newspaper, La Nación. He spent the next several years traveling around the continent, and he published many books of poetry and prose during this time, including Cantos de Vida y Esperanza and Poema del Otoño y Otros Poemas.
You know, many people don't know that Rubén Darío was like an international character, and that was something that the modernist movement had. They considered themselves as cosmopolitans, which means that they thought they were citizens of the world, all right? So he made a lot of traveling. How do you think that traveling impacts the creativity of us and the personal development of people?
I think we spend more time in staying in our house, but traveling is an door for brain, because if we travel, we know many things of their country, of their place, or more. We learn more with that country, literature, architecture. For example, Brazil. Brazil, the island of Ipanema, Copacabana, and more. Rio, an example, that Rio de Janeiro is a wonder of the world. If I have the opportunity to travel to Brazil or other country like the Argentina, Europe, or America, I will learn more their country.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the more we are exploring other places, we see, let's say, other forms of living, all right? And by seeing and experiencing them, we find development for our lives.
Yes.
Am I understanding you right?
I think that travel is a style of life. Why? Because I repeat, we learn more, exploring, discovering, and more. We train our brain that form, and I think that Rubén Darío train his brain that form, because traveling for vacations it's one thing, but traveling to learn it's other thing. That are those things, nor are the both. But because traveling on vacation it's to this fruit and more. But learn of that country, where travel to learn that in that country, it's other thing. We learn of architecture, what they think, how they think, and their mentality.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so you would say that it's not enough to travel just to relax and to get a vacation, but to learn from the lifestyle of the country, and or even to move to another country and live there, right? Yeah, I agree with you, you know. So let's continue with the next paragraph, all right? So, of his work, Octavio Paz writes, Darío was not only the richest and most ample of the modernist poets, he was one of the great modern poets. At times, he reminds us of Poe, at other times of Whitman, of the first in that portion of his work in which he scorns the world of the Americans to seek an otherworldly music, of the second in that portion in which he expresses his vitalist affirmations, his pantheism, and his belief that he was, in his own right, the bard of Latin America, as Whitman was of Anglo America. Darío left Europe in 1914, and at the beginning of the First World War. After a brief period in New York, he returned to Nicaragua, where he died on February 6th of 1916. So, Rubén Darío obviously was very honored and recognized in Nicaragua and in other countries. But before recording, we were talking with our friend Jordi, that was what was here, and we were talking about how we are forgetting about Rubén Darío. Do you feel that young people are forgetting Rubén Darío?
I think some people of this year, the Generation Alpha, is forgetting Rubén Darío. It's not knowing they are more focused on television, the cell phones, and more tablets. That they're the pot of Apple kids because they are only passed with the cell phone. I think they are forgetting it because the style of living of Rubén Darío is example for us for think mentally and there. We can learn more with their poems. I didn't get the opportunity to learn to read Azul, de cantos, prosas profanas y demás. But I think if I had the opportunity to read them, I think it was a big change of my life because if Rubén Darío read it with a purpose, we can learn that purpose, we can transform that purpose to our lives. We change it with only read one book, we change our life.
Yeah, I also believe so. So I had a little exercise that I wanted us to do here before ending this episode, and I brought a poem of Rubén Darío that it's called Abrojos, or from its book Abrojos, y this would be the fourth one, all right? So I don't know if you want to read it or if you want me to read the poem. All right.
Rubén Darío puso el poeta en sus versos todas las perlas del mar, todo el oro de las minas, todo el marfil oriental, todas las diamantes del Golconda, de los tesoros de Balgat, los joyeles y Persea, de los cofres de un abad, pero como no tenía por hacer sus versos ni un pan, al acabar de escribirlo murió de necesidad.
So, what does this poem mean for you?
I think it's significant of the poets. Actually, I think they're paid for make poems, but that time the poets publish their poems, but they are not paying for it. They publish their books, their poems, their stories, but they pay for make their books. But the point of this is where they get money for that, where they got. I think it's patricians and the more, but I think there are people on that time didn't know about that. I think some people know it and well, approach to Rubén Darío with some money, some patricians, some travel, some airplanes, well that. But in that time, I think they're not patrician, and the point of this is where they get money to publish that.
Yeah. I think that it talks also about how is that poetry, art, and beauty makes us rich as human beings, right? That art is a treasure for us, but it's like it's kind of sad that for this beautiful and huge treasure that we have, in most of the cases, we won't even get a penny for it, right? So this is like the paradox of poets and artists. So to conclude, I wanted to ask you about your opinion in this topic. Is art and poetry necessary in our lives or in today's society?
Some necessary because we can't change our mentality, we can't change of think, because if I read prosas profanas y otros poemas, I can change my life because it's I could say it's some it will sound beautiful because Rubén Darío, I will think because I read some poems of him, it's so thoughtful with us and thoughtful and a point of we think and think and think. I really one day to comprehend that poem. I think it was when I don't remember the name, but it was so thoughtful for me.
So you do think that art has an impact on our lives and that art can change the way we think and the way we see and perceive the world? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I think because we the actually people, the actually work, we are more focusing. I think it's good to focus on the technology, advance, and in their case because, but we are forgetting on books. We're forgetting of literature. We are forgetting of read. We are forgetting of write. We are forgetting of all of that. And I think it's so important to the society return a little bit to read some a minute, a 5 minutes, depending on our time, but a little bit read more because we are focusing more in technology. Okay, it's good, but where it's the read, where's the writing?
All right. So finally, what does this article and the life of Rubén Darío in general or what lesson could you learn from him?
I think Rubén Darío is it's a good person. It's a good poet, and I think he was effort in his life for get a more good style of life, and he got it. He got it.
Well, thank you very much for sharing this article with me today. And well, thank you for your time, Casey. I hope you enjoyed recording this episode. And well, goodbye, and thank you
Bye.
for all of you watching.
Thank you.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.